Hello everyone, today is June 3rd and I wanted to give you all an update on my indoor seedlings, my peppers, eggplant, and tomato. If it may look like I'm not inside in the grow room, you would be correct. I'm outside right now. Currently the temperature sitting at 11, 12 degrees Celsius, which is right around maybe 52 degrees, something like that. It's early in the morning yet. It's supposed to warm up to about, I think, 16 Celsius, which is around 60 Fahrenheit. But anyway, I have my peppers and my tomatoes. I'll get into my peppers in a minute because I'm very proud of them this year, even more so than last year. But here are my tomatoes. Some of them are a little lengthy. Some of the stems are a little crooked. But, you know, these are some nice looking plants, I think. They're going to harden off out here for probably at least a good week or so. Some nice top growth. Again, if you picture back to my tomatoes last year, they were a little bit bigger than this, but if y'all can remember, tomatoes last year I started 2 weeks before I started these. Same thing with my peppers. My peppers were started a week earlier. So if you want to add on another 2 weeks growth, that's what you get compared to last year. I have my little supports built here, if you can remember last year. Again, if you're new to my channel, thank you for watching. I use these, are called Connects. I think they're still around these days. Back when I was a kid, maybe well, close to 20 years ago, something like that. Maybe not 20 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. There's these things you can snap together, different colored things, what have you, to make things. But I use them as supports because they work out real well. They're lightweight, and they work just fine for the tomatoes. So all in all, there is 71. No, there's not 71. Trying to think how many I have. I'd have to count them. But anyway, I have a couple artichokes in here. That's why I don't have 72, as I previously said. I lost a couple of them to dampening off, but some of them are doing quite well. I'm hoping to get a crop this year. Now we move on to the more impressive things, my peppers. And yes, some of them are a little lengthy, some of them are a little skinny, some are a little stunted. This little guy here, he's been stunted that size for probably the past 3 weeks. He's a little discolored. I don't know if it's just there's a bad seed, because all these varieties that are around that one, they're all the same. I have a couple of them here that turned over from, well, this one needs water obviously, but a couple of them are getting a little top heavy. Like, look at this sucker here. This thing's probably close to 16 inches tall out of the ground right now. It already has a bunch of flowers on it. I know last year I think I trimmed all my flowers. This year, you know what, I'm just going to let them. I don't really, I don't think it's going to be a harm. They'll flower all season anyway once they're in the ground. But some of these look like they should be cut back, which, if you look next to it, the brother to this plant, these are actually cayennes, these two. This one I did cut back, and as you can see down at the bottom, it's starting to put out some new growth. And I have a couple other ones. Let me try to find one that I did cut back already. I should be more prepared than this, I guess. I'm trying to think where some of them. Oh, this one here. Here we go. I cut this one back, and look at all that new growth. See if you can see it on there. This one's a little bit lighter color than the other ones, but I think the variety also has to do with the coloration that they have. But some of these I cut back as an experiment to see what they would do, but this one's branching out quite nicely. And here's another one that I cut back just the other day, and it's already starting to put out side shoots. So I think I'm kind of sold on the cutting back. However, if you look at this one here, if you can see the top of that in my hand, it's a double stalk, and this one was not cut back at all. So there goes to show that you don't need to cut them back from the spread. This one, again, this one has 2 stalks. This one has 2 main stalks or stems. So variation, I think different varieties probably dictate how well they spread, or if they're more of a compact single stalk. But I'm really anxious to get these in the ground. And these last 3 here on the end, these are my eggplant. They're not as big as last year, the leaves at this point, but again, you got to keep in mind I'm more than 2 weeks behind the time frame was last year. But this is all I started in the house. Last year I started, cucumbers and Swiss chard and all kinds of different pumpkins. Excuse me, the actual pumpkins. I had some Big Max pumpkins, and every seed I had rotted. So I'm not sure who sent me the Big Max pumpkin seeds, but if you get a Big Max pumpkin or a giant pumpkin for that matter, this year I'd love to have some of the seeds. I'm going to be growing quite a bit of pumpkins, and then again, you know, pumpkins, for one pumpkin, that's all you'll need for the next probably 5 years as far as planting, if you're planning on selling them. If you're not planning on selling them, you know, one pumpkin will give you enough seeds for you know, 10 years worth of planting if you just have a little home garden. But the outdoor garden right now is still wet. I haven't done an update from there yet because there's nothing really in it except my garlic and my onions. And my potatoes. My potatoes are really doing well. Have a bit of a grass issue, as you know, the garden used to be just a hayfield. If you can remember, even 2 seasons ago, that I'm just trying to fight the grass and the weeds all the time. But I did make a little bit of a cultivator, so I will show that in one of my later videos. But right now, I just want to give everybody an update on my outdoor seedlings, I'll call them. Once again, here's an overview of them. Tomatoes, I'm not sure the different varieties that I have. Peppers, again, I'm not sure. If you are interested in learning or knowing what varieties I planted this year, I may have mentioned it in an earlier video, but if I haven't, please leave me a comment below as far as you know, what types you're growing, what types of tomato, what type of peppers you're growing, and feel free to link to your channel if you have one. I always like to meet fellow gardeners. Alright, thanks for watching. Happy gardening.